You've probably seen Venezuela in the headlines, but what's really going on with its relationship with the United States? Let's break it down. For years, the US and Venezuela have had a tense relationship, largely due to political and ideological differences. A major point of conflict has been the US sanctions imposed on Venezuela. These sanctions target the country's oil industry, which is the backbone of its economy, as well as key government officials. The US government states these sanctions are a response to concerns about human rights, democracy, and corruption under the Maduro government. The goal is to pressure the administration into holding free and fair elections and restoring democratic processes. The U.S., along with dozens of other countries, historically recognized opposition leader Juan Guaidó as the interim president, further isolating the current government. However, these sanctions have had a massive impact on the Venezuelan people. The economy has been in a freefall for years, leading to hyperinflation and severe shortages of food, medicine, and basic necessities. Millions of Venezuelans have fled the country, creating one of the largest refugee crises in the world. Critics of the sanctions argue they worsen this humanitarian crisis, punishing ordinary citizens more than the government they're intended to target. So, where do things stand now? The situation is incredibly complex and always evolving. Recently, there have been some shifts. With global energy markets in flux, the U.S. has shown some willingness to ease certain oil sanctions in exchange for political concessions from Venezuela. Negotiations have been on and off, with both sides trying to find a path forward. The U.S. continues to push for democratic reforms, while Venezuela seeks relief from the economic pressure that has crippled its nation. In summary, the U.S.-Venezuela relationship is a web of political pressure, economic sanctions, and a severe humanitarian crisis. The U.S. uses sanctions to push for democratic change, but this has had devastating effects on the Venezuelan population. The future remains uncertain, with recent diplomatic talks offering a small glimpse of potential change, but a long road to recovery and stability lies ahead for Venezuela. It's a critical situation to watch as it impacts not just the Americas, but global politics and energy as well. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more simple explanations of complex world events. Ever wondered why the US and Venezuela have such a complicated relationship? Let's break it down, starting with the big picture. For decades, the US and Venezuela were major trade partners, mostly because of one thing: oil. Venezuela has some of the largest oil reserves in the world, and for a long time, the US was its biggest customer. This created a strong economic tie between the two nations, but things started to change dramatically in the late 90s with the rise of Hugo Chavez. He launched what he called the Bolivarian Revolution, a socialist movement that was openly critical of the United States. His government nationalized key industries, including parts of the oil sector that previously had heavy American involvement. This move, along with his anti-US rhetoric, created a lot of friction. The U.S. government saw his policies as a threat to democratic institutions and regional stability, and the once friendly relationship began to sour. This set the stage for years of tension that would only get more intense over time. After Chavez's death, Nicolás Maduro took over, and the situation got even worse. Venezuela's economy collapsed, leading to hyperinflation, food and medicine shortages, and a massive humanitarian crisis. Millions of Venezuelans fled the country. The U.S., along with many other countries, accused Maduro of human rights abuses and declared his 2018 re-election fraudulent. In response, the U.S. imposed heavy economic sanctions on Venezuela, targeting its government and the state-owned oil company PDVSA. The goal was to pressure Maduro to step down and allow for free and fair elections. These sanctions have had a huge impact on Venezuela's ability to trade and access international finance, making an already dire situation even more difficult for the Venezuelan people. So where do things stand now? It's a complex standoff. The U.S. officially recognizes opposition leader Juan Guaidó as the legitimate interim president, but Maduro remains in power, supported by the military and allies like Russia and China. The sanctions are still in place, but there have been some recent cautious talks between the two governments, especially with global energy markets being so volatile. The future is uncertain. Will there be a diplomatic breakthrough, or will the standoff continue? The lives of millions of Venezuelans hang in the balance. It's a situation that continues to evolve, and we'll be here to keep you updated. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more explainers like this one. Hey everyone, ever wondered what's really going on between the US and Venezuela? It's a complex story, so let's break it down into 3 parts. Part 1. A tale of oil and politics. For decades, Venezuela was a major oil supplier to the US. Things were relatively stable, but then, Hugo Chavez came to power in 1999. His socialist policies and anti-US stance started to create friction. The U.S. grew concerned about his government's direction, human rights issues, and its relationships with countries like Cuba and Iran. Chavez accused the U.S. of trying to undermine his government, and the once friendly relationship turned sour. This set the stage for years of tension, with both sides trading accusations and sanctions. It wasn't just about oil anymore. It was a clash of ideologies that would define the relationship for years to come. Welcome to Part 2. After Chavez's death, Nicolás Maduro took over, and things got even more complicated. Venezuela's economy, heavily reliant on oil, went into a freefall. Hyperinflation, food shortages, and a humanitarian crisis unfolded. The U.S. and many other countries refused to recognize Maduro's 2018 re-election, citing widespread irregularities. Instead, they recognized opposition leader Juan Guaidó as the legitimate interim president. The U.S. ramped up sanctions, targeting Venezuela's oil industry and government officials to pressure Maduro to step down. This economic pressure was meant to force a democratic transition, but it also had a severe impact on the daily lives of ordinary Venezuelans, making a difficult situation even worse. And now, for part 3, the current situation. The strategy of maximum pressure didn't lead to Maduro's ousting. Juan Guaidó's influence has faded, and Maduro remains in power. Recently there have been some interesting shifts. The global energy crisis, partly due to the situation in Ukraine, has made Venezuelan oil more appealing again. The U.S. has slightly eased some sanctions and has engaged in direct talks with Maduro's government, mainly focused on securing the release of detained Americans and discussing future elections. It's a pragmatic shift from confrontation to cautious negotiation. What's next? The path forward is uncertain, balancing humanitarian concerns, energy needs, and the push for democracy. It's a geopolitical chessboard where the next move could change everything. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more